fifth point, I would think, of a real serious harm that comes from idolizing virginity is it kind of exacerbates feelings of betrayal when you discover your prospective spouse isn't a virgin. And then you start to question, well, wait a minute, I've waited all this time. Maybe she's just not the one, because I've always expected I'd have some spotless virgin on my wedding night, but she's not. And I try to point out to these, especially guys struggling with it. So I think guys struggle with this perhaps more than girls. I can't speak. But I try to tell them, like, you don't save your virginity for getting it. It's not like a white elephant gift exchange. Yeah. You know, like, well, I brought mine to the party. You know, where's yours? This is a sham. You know, but you know, they expressed me a feeling of being gypped in a sense. And you have to enter into that. Like, okay, look, I understand that. You know, I understand of like, you've made many, many sacrifices along the road and you could have done that. You chose not to out of love of your future spouse. And now you're wondering, well, what the heck? You know, when I was waiting for you, why weren't you waiting for me? And so you have to validate those feelings, but at the same time, explain to them, like, she didn't cheat on you. She didn't even know you. She hadn't met you yet. You know, she's in a different place today. And so what a shame it would be to miss out on a beautiful prospective spouse because you're just simply in the pursuit of virginity instead. And if you can't let go of that, then it might be better for you not to marry her because she doesn't need that hanging over her head for the rest of her natural life. If you're going to lose out on the gift of the person because you're on a quest for simply virginity, maybe the issue of the brokenness isn't so much in hers life, it's in yours.
Yeah. And I think, that's where we have to turn to, like, what is the sexual experience within marriage for? Yeah. Is it for giving away your virginity, or is it for a gift of self, a gift of an entire person? And if you want to collapse it into just virginity, right? Like I love that you say, like, you don't give your virginity to get it, right, from somebody else. And but is intercourse within marriage about experiencing a whole nother person and giving your whole self, including all your experiences and the consequences of those experiences, or is it about just getting virginity? And I think there is a feeling that we're tempted to feel when we encounter sexual sin in our partner, is like, you know, that, oh, how could you kind of thing. And I think that's also interesting when we just recognize, like, we bring sin into this marriage too, you know, like everybody is bringing something to the table. And I think that happens when we idolize virginity and chastity as like the pinnacle virtue of relationships and of marriage, is we don't give weight to other sin. Like, and I've talked about this a few times, but just that, I haven't received much dating or marriage advice. I'd say more dating than marriage. I haven't received much dating advice, other than just chastity, right? Like I think in our focus on chastity, which is beautiful and good, we don't always talk about, other aspects of relationships, like how to be selfless or how to have healthy conflict or different things like that. How to make financial decisions together, you know, how to pray together. Like we don't always focus on other virtues and vices, and we make not having sex when you're dating the barometer of a healthy dating relationship, and then we make having sex when you're married the barometer of a healthy marriage. And I think that's also just a result of just maybe too much emphasis on sexuality, whereas it has its place, it's good, it's sacred, it's beautiful, but it isn't the whole of a marriage, or the lack of it isn't the whole of a dating relationship.
No, I like that point, because when it comes to marriage preparation, you know, at least here in the States, I just did a Zoom call with some archdiocese in Sydney, Australia. They're starting marriage preparation courses starting, I think it's like in 7th grade. And I'm like, man, spot on. Like, that's what the church teaches. It's got to be not just like immediate marriage prep. Like, oh, we got the ring. We got 6 months. Let's figure out what the heck marriage is about. It's like, no, this needs to start. Like, I mean, Pope Francis said marriage preparation begins at birth. That's what the Pope said. And so we're so far behind the game when we start being like, okay, got to get ready for marriage, chastity. You're 16 years old, get this piece figured out. It's like, yeah, well, we don't know how to resolve conflict. We don't agree on Monday. Like, there's nothing that we've really been taught other than don't have sex. And so, you know, that's a great discussion, because like, well, we got to create apostolates in the church of authentic marriage prep long before your pre-Cana weekend, which is kind of last ditch effort to evangelize these people, most of whom have been in the church since their first communion. So
yeah, I'm going on my pre-Cana weekend tomorrow. So it's quite funny. It's like, yes, but no, I completely agree. And I think that almost teaches young men and young women to see each other as sexual beings, like early on, more so than we already do. Is like, if all we can talk about in regards to the opposite sex is chastity, then like we're not gonna be able to be friends with each other, you know, like, and teach young people how to have holy friendships, you know?
Yeah.
That's really good marriage prep, how to be friends.
Yeah, there's a concept.